you just started the recording, and then I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Good as new.
Barrier's about to break.
Shield holding. Fixing you up.
Alright, rewind half a second, trying to see something there. Think Genji might have stole our pack for Sigma in that situation, which is something we can discuss. Yeah, guys, we're aiming at Sigma here. Genji receives the pack. Have you adjusted your pack sensitivities at all on Brig?
I haven't. I did that on Zen and a few others, but I hadn't gone through and done that on Brig, and I think that's a valid statement. One thing I'll also say is I think there might be a discrepancy in this one and the other one. I have changed my sensitivity since then. I don't think my skills are mechanical. I think it's going to be game sense, positioning wise, and decision making. I think that's probably. I know mechanically I'm not amazing, but I'm also decent. So I think that's probably my biggest issues. But I knew my sensitivity was a little too low, so I upped it up a little bit recently. So there's that. But yeah, I actually am going into my settings and I might adjust that here in a bit. Because yeah, valid. I forgot about that with Brig.
Yep, it'd be a good idea just to go and check off all those on all the different characters, just in case you decide to play them, just so it's out of the way.
Fixing you up.
All right.
And I'm trying to stick around my Ana when I can.
Okay. So right now we're trying to stick around our Ana. So walk me through the mindset. For what purpose are you trying to stick by your Ana?
At that point, it was partially because I had a ball and it was just Sigma. So I knew I didn't have a really reliable tank to sit behind. And so I wanted to enable my Ana to support the tanks as much as possible. And in the case I knew they had a Widow and an Ashe. So if there's a way I could help her, say if she gets hit by TNT. So I was mainly just trying to enable her as much as possible.
Okay.
While throwing out packs and whiplashes if I can.
So my point in that situation, right? If you're taking enable by just like keep her alive, right? You can probably do that just as effectively from pretty much anywhere as long as you're keeping her in your line of sight. So when it comes to positioning up against their current team composition, you probably don't need to be sitting on top of her. Now, is that a bad thing to be doing? No, but being up near Sigma might even be a better idea than being back on top of your Ana, because that puts you within range of your kit a bit more. And then being back with your Ana really isn't necessary, where you can just turn around with a pack to heal her. When that would be necessary is if they were like on a dive, right? That's where it becomes, or they have a lot of flankers, right? That's when it becomes necessary to sit on top of your Ana.
Gotcha. But because they have virtually no dive heroes, I probably should have played more forward with my tanks and just kind of kept an eye on her.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because you can think of it like this: if you're sitting all the way in the back on your Ana, right? How are you gonna bash? How are you gonna, or how are you gonna whack anything with your just not whip shot, your whatever your flail. There it is.
Flail,
Yeah, flail. Right. So you're missing out on a big part of your kit. You can even get outside of your range of your whiplash. You're not even be able to use that either. So that just means you're also not getting as much inspire going. So, and then therefore as well, you're not getting as much ult charge. So overall, it's just gonna mess up your whole gameplay if we're not participating.
Yeah.
My barrier's about to go. My barrier's down.
There I tried to shield bash away and it broke right as I went for it. You could hear the voice line.
Yep. Here, backing up a little bit delayed, right? We probably wanted to be backing up sooner, especially like when we saw that the Sigma's dead. Additionally, we can go in depth on this, but right now we're very out in the open, which just means that we get melted very easily. Yeah, we might go over that in a minute here.
Feeling better? I will shield you. That should be better.
The payload has
And I was hoping that he would drop his shield for a second to get the inspire. Because it doesn't trigger from his shield, if I remember correctly.
No, you're right.
Let me patch that up. Shield's taking damage.
If you see you're down a little bit of HP, just request some healing, get your Ana to, you're in between fights, just be a good idea to get topped off. Nothing major.
From there, I'm still learning the pack range, and so she was not in range. I was trying to throw one to her.
All right. So, one thing that I would recommend for you to be doing is to be looking to hit whip shots much more often. You basically want to be whip shotting pretty much off of cooldown. So, pretty much every
Okay.
single time you get it, because how it works on Brig is that your whip shot cooldown and the the inspire timing, right, of when it activates versus when it goes away, that's going to roughly coincide with each other, where you whip shot, inspire happens, and then right as your whip shot comes back, your inspire's ending, so that you can re-trigger it, what you call procking it. You proc your inspire. So when you're looking to play Brig, you probably want to just be tossing it out there as much as possible, because then that firstly just get some extra damage in there, but then also the main thing is that you're getting in your inspire active continuously, and the more you have inspire active, the more general healing around you you're doing. And then that means you're also getting a lot more ult charge, both because you're hitting your whip shots, but then also because you're healing people around you. So overall, that's good. That's something that I'm not noticing a lot of. Is we'll kind of just sit around a lot when we probably want to like be peeking for half a second to land a whip shot, or like maybe here we can whip shot the hog that we see down main, something like of that sort. As
Yeah, I
options.
think I'm attributing kind of an honest sleep factor to it, where the value it's a higher cooldown and it's more valuable to make sure you hit those. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because if I keep throwing them, even if I'm missing them, I'll start learning when and how to make sure I hit more frequently. And the
Yeah.
fact that I'm not throwing them at all, I'm robbing myself of learning that. That makes
Yeah.
sense. And we do get kind of crumpled first 2 points here, but we start to rally towards the end. So
Nade, patching you up.
Okay. So additionally, would you like me to walk you through why I would say Brig is probably not good in this setting that you're in?
yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
All right, because I think you're saying is Brig your set like you is Brig really the only second support you play other than Ana, or are you just looking to pick up Brig mainly? I'm just looking to see like how hard you're looking to lock into her.
I'm not really tied to her in any ways. Like my
Mm.
Ana and Mercy are my most played, and I'm okay at Zen and I'm okay at Brig. I think those are my big four. BAP I'm also okay at. I think I'm a little bit better with BAP in general,
Okay.
but Ana, Mercy are probably my top two.
All right, so then that gets into team compositions. Would you like to go over? I mean, like we could go the whole in depth and go over like all team compositions and how all the different team compositions work. The main three, just to check, what would you say the main three team compositions are in the game?
Well, I know double shield's really common, which is Brig Sigma and double hit scan. I don't know what
Yeah.
supports
You,
usually run with that.
yeah.
Probably an Ana and something else.
Yeah, double shield would be a subsection of a what you would call a spam composition or a poke comp. So yeah, that's one of them. It would just be a type of a spam.
Yeah, and then dive, which is I believe is usually Diva and Winston.
Yep.
And then usually dive or flanking DPS with maybe an Ana Zen
Yep.
or a Lucio maybe. And then I don't know the third one. I know Rein Zarya was really popular. I know it's not as strong as it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would call that a brawl composition. So a brawl
Okay.
is going to be just Reinhardt Zarya is the most common popularized one. Usually run with Lucio. It's think of
Yeah.
it like this. It's
To close the gap
close.
with Ryan, right?
Yeah, it's close ranged characters who like to play fast, right? So, what out of those three composites, every single character works okay in different versions of those, right? Like so, for example, Ana, right? Ana is good in a dive. She is good in a brawl, and she's meh in a spam. She's kind of meh in the spam. Brig, what would you say Brig is in terms of those
Brawl.
compositions? Brawl,
Brawl for
yeah.
sure.
So Brig's a brawl. And then she
Or
is
anti dive, right? I
yeah, and
mean,
then also
she's
anti dive. Yep. hmm And then
Okay.
so she's brawl, she's anti-dive, and then she's also okay with a dive. She's better if she's playing dive versus dive, because then she gets anti-dive plus you're playing with a dive, right? So it's kind of
Yeah.
that's good. But then if your team's just playing a dive, then she's kind of okay, right? She's doable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good.
So with that principle,
Mm.
at this rate, should I look at my team and go, well, we're running more dive than anything, and should I go for more of maybe a Zen or
Mm.
something like that?
Yeah. So in this situation, we're running a dive, so that makes it, that makes her okay in this situation. It doesn't really make her like wonderfully fantastic, because then you think through, okay, once again, how are you? And you notice how like we've never really been able to do very much, and that's gonna maybe change a little bit on third point, where we're able to get a little bit closer quarters, but haven't been able to bash anything, right? We haven't used bash once on anything. We haven't been able to we've never gotten within range to do anything with our kit, right? And then
Yeah.
we're never getting Inspire going. We're essentially just non-existent up to this point, and that's primarily because the team comps aren't allowing us to do that. So yes, Zenyatta would be a better pick here. Yeah, I mean Zen would be perfectly fine. Mercy would be maybe a little bit better than Brig. Um, and yeah, besides that, Ana would be really good here, which you already have. Yeah, so that'd be my
Yeah.
recommendation there. Then that's just why at the moment we might be struggling here to actually do anything. It's just because the compositions aren't supporting it.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Because even whenever I do have line of sight, like with that Ash, like
Mm,
this was, I think, probably the first game where I really realized I was like, oh, there's actually a good range, not that great of a range on her health packs. And like I was trying to pack it,
mm,
or the Genji, sorry, I was trying to pack the Genji. And I realized, oh, and yeah, it definitely felt this first 2 points. I was like, I'm not getting much value, but I'm
mm,
not quite sure what to do about it. So
yeah.
that makes sense.
So aside from us, like, so what would you say Briggs' preference range is? So like if she, of course, people are able to play anywhere for the most part and make it work, but where does Brig want to be playing?
She wants close or mid, probably at most. She definitely doesn't want long range.
Yeah, she wants a close range, right? Because she dash is going to be like 5 meters. Whip shot, I believe, is 20 meters? Question mark. Which is like that. Pretty much that should be like your cap off on your range, pretty much, right? Aside from like if you're playing like in a dive scenario where they're going to be coming to you. You probably want to be playing within that 20 meters and probably even closer than that, right? Um, and that's on and like in every single situation thing, because then you'll run in and die in a lot of situations. But here we just ended up needing to be walking back a lot, which just hasn't ever put us in that range.
Feeling better? Get behind me.
Request healing at your honor to look over at you. That's just going to get your supports to look at you sooner. Also, watch health bars here. On us down like 10 HP, so health pack's not going to do too much. That's what you call overhealing, when either somebody is full HP or very, very close to full HP, and you
Yeah.
probably could be doing something, much, much more useful in that time that you're wasting. Also, it's wasting resources. So watch health bars and look to avoid overhealing.
Yeah, because if I had hit this whip shot, I would start to have healed her instantly. So that was just trying to whip shot him out from the middle there.
Okay. So, um, once again, we're kind of stuck in the back. It's possible, like, back over here. Let's see. So our Sigma, I think, drops in front of us. We
Yeah.
probably didn't need to do a full back. If we push forwards here and use cover, then Ana can still heal us, and we can hug more of our Sig, because our Sigma's probably going to be getting a little bit closer to the fray than Ana
Yeah.
is sitting in the back. So sticking with our Sigma can probably allow us to participate a bit more. So I might stick up here rather than doing a full back and wrapping all the way around, because
Yeah.
then you notice how we just once again we're just kind of sitting for most of this fight. We're
Yeah.
just we're here looking for packs, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, it went back to me trying to enable my Ana, which, as we had mentioned in this comp, yeah, that makes sense. And I realized as soon as I saw the Sigma drop and we had talked about that, I was like, ooh, I should have stuck with the Sigma instead of which yeah, valid, makes sense.
Will shield you.
All right, we're still above us.
Yo ya esperé. That should be better.
Thanks.
I require healing.
Bättre så.
My blade is ready to be unleashed.
A little bit of overheal pack on Sigma there.
Get in there.
My ultimate.
Yeah, I do think I overpack a little bit on, I throw them onto tanks or people I think I might take some damage, and tanks usually are taking some type of chip damage. But like there, I only had one pack and I just threw it on him.
Yeah.
And
So typically you only throw packs ahead of time. Like you only throw it predictively if you know they really will need it, right? Like if you know they're taking damage, like let's say they're gonna grab or something, right? And you know there's damage coming imminently. Now here we throw one on Sigma that's overhealing. We also throw another overhealing on Ball, right? So we're throwing it on Sigma. We only have a pack here. We also watch how we throw one on Ball when he's that's gonna do a decent bit on him. But then look now how we're at 0 packs. So if anyone actually really needs a pack, we don't have any. And the fight's beginning. Typically, you want to do your best to come into each fight with 2 to 3 packs. You don't want to be starting a fight without packs, because in between fights, typically packs are less valuable because people aren't usually in as much danger in between fights. But when the fight begins, then people do end up actually needing your packs, and now we don't have any packs to work with, which means that Doomfist might be low. We only have 1 pack for him, right?
Yeah.
And once again, probably just spamming in whip shot there. Okay, we're rallying. Notice how by the time we're actually in swinging on things, where it took us like 6 seconds to get in there doing things.
Yeah.
Probably get a little bit more aggressive while you're like even before you're about to pop it. So like if we know that we're gonna use it, we can be walking forwards with it. We want to be getting close. Once again, we're backing up really far, and then we're rallying, and then having to run all this distance to get up close to them. Also, probably get a Bashter there where I think we were within range.
Gotcha.
That should be better.
Yeah, so something as of note,
Better.
once again, it's just the primarily positioning is the big one that's and play style is putting us out of range to do things, and then because of that our ability usage is suffering. Like we're not able to use our abilities, right? Like we bashed something maybe once.
Yeah.
And then whip shot is whip shot is is the one that's maybe a little bit more like you probably just like whip shotting more.
Yeah, I think that'll have a direct impact on my value if I start using that more often.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I think I just felt so out of range for so long, and Winston's I feel really good hitting whip shots and trying to zone them out as much as possible.
Yeah.
But
here, you probably want to bash him, not whip shot him away. Whip shotting him away is if like you don't want him on top of you.
Gotcha. Because it's my tank, it's not that big of a deal. If it was Ana, I would whip shot. Gotcha.
And here as well, notice his health bar. He's almost half HP here. If we stun him, and it's like you and your Sigma shooting at him, you might be able to even kill him here, right?
Gotcha.
He just used the leap. He's not going to be able to get away from you anytime soon. So Bash probably comes first, and then when you can even whip shot the combo with it. But here we push him away, and then look at his health bar there, right?
Gotcha.
So there, Bash probably comes as the priority. Pretty much, for the most part, right? There's it's not an end-all be-all, but whenever something's within range, you probably want to bash him, right? Like, unless it's going to... Again, that's not an end-all be-all. You might, if you're bashing into the middle of their team, that's maybe a little bit different. But if something's within range, you want to bash them, and we just haven't really seen many bashes so far.
Gotcha. Like I said, I think I get better because the last part of the map is just is a better portion for Brig, and that's my fault for being Brig here. Yep. We're getting close to the halfway mark. Could we move to the Ana gameplay, though?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
As much as I want to show you that, hey, once I'm in range, I'm not that bad. I have some good marks to work on, and I'm satisfied with that.
Alrighty.
Ana being my main, though, I would like to get some
Sounds
coaching on that. So.
Looks like we swapped.
Am I still Brig? I thought I took Ana there. If not, then we can go to the other gameplay.
Yeah, it does
Oh,
not
I
look like
stayed
this.
I stayed
Yep,
Brig. Okay.
Brig the whole time. Alrighty.
Yeah, let's do the other one then.
It's good that we checked. Otherwise, we'd be doing that the whole time.
Yeah. I would have noticed once we switched over. I'd be like, wait a minute.
Alrighty.
All right, and this is an Eichenwald one.
Traveling to Eichenwald. Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Definitely appreciate the notes. It makes sense too, being an Ana main, that I kind of was playing Brig almost like Ana at times.
Yeah. Yep.
I have your back. Taking damage. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Alrighty. So, let's rewatch how you die here. I have another thing I'm noting. Okay, so we get fire struck.
That was a
little
huge
cover,
fire
yeah.
strike. It was a deflect, if I'm not mistaken.
So
or-
we're gonna, yeah. We're gonna really quickly go over positioning, and then we will cut back and take more of a look at our gameplay. So, we're gonna go over this because I've seen a couple times where this has been a little bit off. So general positioning, where should you generally be standing? If you are standing right here, right, and the enemy team is standing all the way over there, and they're all shooting at you and whatnot, it's gonna take you 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind cover. Now, you cannot shoot through cover. You can't shoot through solid objects, so you are all good. But in the time it just took you to walk there, you ended up dying. Whereas if you are standing right here, now it takes you half a second to duck behind cover, and then therefore you are 6 times faster than what it just took you previously. And then, therefore, good positioning is the usage of cover, and bad positioning is the absence of cover. I've seen a couple times where we're a little bit far away from cover, like we're right there as Ana, we were just like over here rather than right here, and then that means that we end up getting melted before we're able to use the corner. And then, yeah, besides that, there's a lot of different types of cover. You have slopes like so. You have random pillars sitting around when you're in between shots, when you're reloading, when you're being shot at. You have corners to do the same thing. And then you have random objects like the payload, pillar, corner, doorway, corner. It's all over the place. So you want to make sure you're using cover and not standing out in the open or even doing wide peeks.
I do tend to do wide peaks. I do know that much, just because I try to keep my line of sight on my team the most.
Yeah, and a lot of times using cover probably isn't going to mess with your line of sight a ton. It shouldn't really if you're using it correctly. All right, is this the right one? No, it is not the right one. All right, there were 2 Eichenwalds on top of each other here.
Oh.
Traveling to ready for battle.
5, 4.
Oh yeah, the Genji deflects the fire strike into our entire team.
Yeah. So here you can see it. Like, look at our positioning at the moment.
Yeah. I veered off right to try to hit that Zarya, but she was okay, and instead I should have been rotating either right or left. I just needed to make a decision, right?
And then
Probably left.
Notice here how if we're just back here, we can still see Zarya, right?
Yeah.
You still have that cover to use, or you could even be, over here on this side, something of that sort. But really, it's just making sure you're using it.
I'm not.
Verdammt.
I will keep you healed. Not very many.
Okay, make sure you're reloading when I'm seeing maybe a little bit of overhealing here. Make sure that you are not if you're watching health bars. You're reloading whenever you get the chance. Here we end up just holding on to our shots, even like for example, like right here, right? Like you can take out this snapshot and go, huh, is there a ton that we could be doing? Yeah, maybe we could shoot a shot into Junkrat, but if there's nothing that's immediately pressing, you probably want to be reloading, because then you actually have ammo for when things are pressing. And things do
Yeah,
become pressing in right now,
like a
right?
blade. Yeah.
Yeah, things do get pressing, and now we have one single bullet, right? And then
Yeah.
blade happens, and we have
Healing
to
enough.
be reloading while it's happening. Okay. Um. Additionally, possibly could be like nanoing Reinhardt to save him there.
Yeah.
That's not always. I have to have conversations with people about like, okay, you don't always nano to save somebody, but here he's
Yeah, I was on the
yeah,
fence about it at this
yeah,
time. I remember I was like, should I not? I don't know. And with him being antied in half, I thought maybe we could have won it, but
yeah. Um, yeah, I probably would have gone for it because you get the kill on the Genji and you save your Reinhardt,
yeah.
which is a lot of value. And you don't really have any better combos or anything on your team. Reinhardt's probably your best bet and you're in this current team comp for
Yeah.
nanoing
And he's
targets.
nated, so he would have been full health like that.
Put your head down.
I've seen worse. You're going to live. You're powered up. Get in there.
Taking damage. My servants never die.
This is going to hurt. I will
Okay,
keep
good
you
Nade to
healed.
keep Hog locked in at 1 HP there.
My nades have been a little wonky lately. I need to practice them.
Hmm. That may
Not
be
landing him
something.
where I want him to be.
Yeah, that might be something we talk about in a moment here. Yeah, so make sure you're watching those objects. We will go in depth on that in a minute if I feel we need to. But here we see the shield and we just kind of toss it in the shield like seconds after we see it there. So make sure
Yeah.
we're actively watching for that. And shield breaks even a second later. We can throw it over top of the shield. We got options.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, oh, I could have tossed that right over and hit all of them.
اتعلم من الألم. Get back in the fight.
I don't like peeking the rubble here just because there's so much spam that comes
You'll
in.
be fine.
Like, I like to be aggressive, but I was really just being submissive there just because it's so scary to peek over
Yeah.
that rubble.
All right. So heal nades. Heal nades come when heal nades are needed. And besides that, I haven't seen maybe as many big antis as would be preferable as of the moment. So let's discuss nade usage in general, right? So firstly, healing nades come when healing nades are needed. If healing nades are not needed, you probably want to be going for anti-nades. Anti-nades are incredibly powerful. When you land like a 4, 5, 6-man anti-nade, that's getting probably even more value than your nano can get in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So you want to be looking for nades, trying to get as many people in your nades as possible. It's a very high powered ability. Yet we've used it, I think, maybe like 2, maybe 3 times aggressively so far, and it's been on like 1 person each, which isn't terrible value. I mean, especially like that one time when we're locking, when we saw Hog was 1 HP. But there are a lot of times if we're looking for more, we can get a lot more value out of it, right? Getting
Yeah.
2 people is literally going to be like 2 times the value, maybe closer to like 2.5 times the value. 3 people are going to be more like 4 times the value.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
love
yeah.
anti-nades. I feel like on this game I struggled to find, aside for
Yeah.
that time when I was close enough with the hog and everything,
Mhm.
I think at this map I kind of struggled to find times to use it.
So then we can discuss the how to use it. Right now we're talking about the why. Also heal nades. Here we throw a heal nade, right? You throw heal nades when heal nades are needed, and when they are not needed, then you don't. So heal nades are needed when somebody is low and in danger. both. It's a both, not an not an or.
Yeah.
So somebody, for example, I can be 1 HP and right here and be perfectly safe and not need a nade whatsoever, and I can be full HP in the middle of their team and be very much in danger. But then what the heck is nade gonna do, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I like to nade, especially tanks if they need healing, but the second one, if they're in danger, I think that's a completely different one because I find that sometimes they're not in danger, but I want to get them topped up so they can get right back in as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
So then you can think of it like this, right? Like here we can probably like Zarya, we see her critical, but she's only if we just take a moment to heal her and Mercy up, where she's gonna be outside of the fight for 1 second. It's probably
Yeah.
honestly not gonna be that much different. And then now you still have your nade to use for anti purposes, or if somebody else actually needs it because they are low and in danger. So it just ends up meaning that it doesn't get wasted if you use it like that. So that would be my recommendation to look out for it. Now, usage of nade we can continue to go over as we go along here.
This will help.
Into the iris.
Take your medicine. The pain is coming.
Help me! Oh, this is not
I've
the end.
seen worse.
In here, I'm kind of just relying on my ears to tell me when the hog is coming or if he's going to come behind me.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
So there, once again, you kind of notice how we just kind of chuck in the nade when maybe it's not really needed. I'm not sure if we're trying to throw it at Sigma, but it goes into a Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Then we can talk about, once again, kind of the nade usage in a minute here. I'm kind of accumulating a couple things to talk about.
Yeah, that was definitely me trying to hit the Sigma, but he didn't have the aggression I thought.
All right, so let's talk nano boost. So, couple things of note with it. I'm trying to think here. So, when it comes to using your nano boost, right? Here we use it on Junkrat. When you are nanoing, you want to think of your nano as if you're getting life points out of it. So if you save somebody, that's a life point. If you kill somebody, that's a life point. So here you save Junkrat, that's a life point that you gain, right? Now, how many kills is Junkrat likely to get with that ultimate?
I didn't see the hog ulting before, but with the hog ulting, that's going to make it a lot harder. I think I was just trying to find an answer to the nano blade to zone him out. But yeah, not a lot. Probably maybe 1 or 2 kills if he's able to hit the mines.
Yeah, I'd say maybe like 1. So it honestly, I don't think it's a terrible nade. Terrible nano. I don't honestly. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking more of it, like this is an okay option. Nanoing Reinhardt might be better there. He does end up getting purpled. But nanoing him earlier in the fight might also be better to keep their team at bay while you guys deal with Genji. Is an option there. I don't think either way you're too terribly off.
I have your back.
I'm trying to quick scope more. Missing some.
Alright, so we are gonna exit out here. We're gonna talk about a couple of different things. Okay, so firstly, let's talk about flicks. So right now I'm seeing the higher sensitivity, and it looks like you have a decently high sensitivity for the moment, or at least your aim style seems very much a flicky aim style. Let's discuss flicking real quick. So when it comes, and then this is going to be relevant when it comes to sleep darting as well. So when it comes to flicking, you flick essentially when flicking is needed, and you probably shouldn't be flicking when flicking isn't needed. So let's discuss when that is. So flicking is needed by definition. A flick is going from point A to point B very, very fast, right? It's doing something like this, right? That's going to be needed when you have a fast-moving target. So tracers blinking around you, you gotta flank to turn around and shoot at the tracer, right? Somebody sneaks up behind you, gotta do a quick flick to turn around and shoot at the person behind you. You're acquiring a new target, right? So you're aiming down here, and then all of a sudden someone pops up on your top, you have to flick up to that person. Now, if you are already staring directly at somebody or in the very general area, right? So I'm already aiming here on people. I don't need to do a flick per se, because then that just might end up throwing off my shots if I'm trying to do this, right? And sometimes in your gameplay, it looks like you're doing a little bit more of this, where like you'll go on the people and you'll go off of people and you go on the people and you go off of people, instead of keeping your crosshair on top of people when you're in their general area. So I might recommend looking to avoid flicking, especially with sleep. A lot of times with Ana players, what you find is they'll go, they'll be normal. They'll be kind of having normal tracking aim style. They'll go pew pew bang bang shoot shoot, and then all of a sudden they go for a flick or they go for a sleep, right? And then they go what's right with the sleep. And I actually landed that, but it just they end up going for this crazy flick when it comes to the sleep, and in a lot of cases it's not really necessary, which is what we saw in like the last sleep that you used. Maybe we can go over that when we get back into the game. So
that was me trying to sleep the nano blade, right?
No.
Oh.
It was like you on the hog. When he was
Oh,
just running
that's
around the
right.
corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that just might be my recommendation, is look to avoid as drastic of flicks when it's not necessary to do so. Now, ability
Do you have good
usage.
recommendations on trying to enhance or kind of trying to counter the flick playstyle, other than just probably just doing like maybe tracking some practices or stuff like that? Or
Yeah, so it's being intentional while you're playing about paying attention to it. So that's really how you work on anything that you're trying to work on. So when you're trying to work on anything that we're talking about here, you're going to make sure that you're actively focusing on it. That means that you're not going to autopilot, you're not going to just play to play, and contrary to popular belief, you're not going to purely play to win, as that just ends up leading to stagnation. Instead, you're going to play to improve, and what that means, or what that looks like, is you're going to be thinking to yourself, aim, 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 right? Or if, whatever else you want to be thinking about. Awareness, 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 awareness. You're giving yourself a constant stream of reminders to think about the thing you're trying to work on. Now, when you do that, your aim is probably, if you are constantly thinking through flicking versus non-flicking and when that's necessary, you're probably going to be doing a little bit better than if you weren't thinking about it at all. And then when you do that for a long enough period of time, that's going to form it as a positive habit. Once it forms as a positive habit, it's not really something you need to focus on anymore because it comes naturally. And then you can move on to something else to work on. And final thing is, I would recommend, don't try to do everything all at once. That will become overwhelming. Instead, look to do one category or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category to work on. That all makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, besides that, when you're looking to play, might be good practice environment to do like FFAs, free-for-all death matches. You could also do maybe like Ana paintballs, practice crosshair placement, aiming where you know people are going to be. So, I know, because Ana, you don't have to aim at head level, but I know bot's top right, so you're just placing crosshair right here at the doorway. They're going to be there, right? People at bottom right, I know they're going to be there, so I'm turning the corner, already looking, right? So that's just doing that sort of idea can help with it. Just thinking it through is the big thing, being conscious of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, nade usage. When you are looking for a nade, you do not want to try to throw it at somebody directly. When you throw a nade at somebody, and let's say we just try to throw it at the person, and it misses, it just goes sailing past them into Narnia. Whereas what you instead want to be doing is throwing it at the floor and between as many people as possible. Because if you throw it at people, they can also body block it from hitting people around them. Whereas if you throw it on the floor, you have this giant, it's not going to sail past them, and you're also going to have this giant radius to work with. That can hit as many people as possible. So you want to hit the floor, if at all possible.
So I already do that with Genjis a lot of time. I just kind of need to apply that to others because you can still anti a Genji that's deflecting as long as you don't throw it at his face. So
yep.
I just need to apply that. I do it for Diva too sometimes, depending on how close they are. So that makes sense to try to make sure I go for more of a almost like BAP healing in a way.
I'm in
But
aim
Yeah,
for
except for even
you
on.
want to hit him
Yeah.
direct because of the way his
Yep.
heal works. So,
Mhm.
but I get that.
Yep. All right. Another thing here. If this is a tech that you can use on Ana, this only works if you're scoped, not if you're unscoped. You're gonna take your ult charge and line it up with an enemy, and you're gonna toss in a nade, and that nade is gonna hit them from any
Experience
height
always
or any
wins in
range that
the
you're at.
end.
Though most commonly, probably gonna want to be using that at mid to long ranges, not when they're right next to you.
Yeah.
So here, a little bit, they're on a slope. So now we're gonna line up our Q with them, not our ult charge, and then that means that we toss it in.
This
It's
will
gonna hit
only
'em.
hurt for a minute.
Gotcha. So the
I
ult could
expected
be a good
more.
indicator to try to line up more long range nades.
Yep.
Hmm.
Specifically when you're scoped.
Yeah.
If you're unscoped, it's gonna look like that. Um, All right, so then when
Go.
it comes to
I
your
took you lead.
nades, make sure that you are putting thought and effort into them. So this is similar to what we were talking about before with putting intentionality and focus. But when it comes to your usage, it's a little bit more than focus, but more so putting thought into how you're using them. You don't want to come into fights and just go pew pew bang bang and then nade and then pew pew bang bang and then sleep, right? That's not how we want to really be approaching our abilities. We want to be coming in and going, okay, I have Nade, and it right now, right? You're okay. Sorry, you're going through a fight, right? It's not even you don't even have it yet. It's on cooldown. You're going, okay. I have 7 seconds. I'm gonna go heal, heal, bang, bang. I'm looking for Nade. I'm lining it up. Okay, I see. Okay, I see an opportunity, and I'm using it as soon as it comes off cooldown. Right? It's a thought process where you're putting the effort and attention into it because it's really important. Your ability usage is essentially how you carry as Ana, right? It's how if you are just it's same thing as Brig in Ana. If you're just it's even worse on Brig, right? It's worse on Brig if you're just sitting there, right? But for both of them, if you're just sitting there heal botting, you're not really going to be doing too much. You're just existing, right? And that's okay, but you're not going to carry your games and win in bad situations like that. Your ability switch is a large part of how you do that. So not all of it, but a big part. So you want to be putting effort and attention into it. More things here. Watch out for the obstacles that can get in the way of your abilities. You got things such as shields and tanking abilities and tanks themselves who can body block it and teammates who can body block it.
That's my number one.
Yep.
Nothing like lining up a good nade and someone runs in front of you with 2 HP or gets a small amount of chip damage and the nade just explodes in your face.
Yep. So teammates, right, you have a couple of different things. First thing, you got to be aware of them. Pay attention. Make sure that you're being aware so they don't end up walking in front of you while you're throwing it. Secondly, once you are aware of them, then you walk to the left, to the right, behind, walk through them, or wait for them to move out of the way. You have a lot of different options there. Pretty much the same thing with enemies too. If you're trying to get it around them, you do that same thing. Okay, shields, right? You can wait for them to break, wait for them to drop, wait for the character to die, throw it at somebody who's around the shield, throw it around the shield, throw it above the shield. You have a lot of different options. Look to just not, toss it into the Sigma shield that's sitting there in front of the graph, right? Same thing with abilities that can block it. Pretty much the same thing. Okay. Now, you have a very easy way to get around all that. It's possible, right? You're able to get around that, but it's a little bit more difficult to do that regularly. So a very easy way to get around all that stuff is through positioning. So if there's the enemy team here and our team here, this is the main angle. You're trying to shoot through teammates, shields, tanks, tanking abilities. Very easy way that you can get around that is just to come to the left here, and now you've just instantly gotten around shields and everything, right? Instantly to the back line. Very safe, very fast. This is what you call an off angle. It's a different angle from the main angle. And they're going to be around roughly about like 50% of the time. Enemy team, our team, main angle, pretty much same thing, right? Heal up our team, heal, 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 heal. Okay, coming up to the high ground, very fast, very safe, instantly to their back line, and then that's a massive nade that ends up winning the fight. Then high grounds all act as natural off angles as long as we're above them, not really if they're all the way over here, because then they can still shield you. Okay, any questions on any of that?
No, that makes sense. I think I try to implement it the best I can, but I think I can work a little bit better with teammate awareness because, like I said, I think that's the number one thing. Also, just practicing my nade because I try to go over shields sometimes, and sometimes I'll clip them or something like that. But definitely by far. It's the chipped health teammate that I'm not aware of that runs in front, or maybe my tank takes chip damage and I didn't realize, and I end up hitting the
Yeah.
nade in the back of their head.
I would. I would just firstly another thing there. Like I'm not sure if that was what you're going off of there, but I wouldn't ever. If you see somebody's full HP, don't ever intentionally try to throw it through them, because they're gonna take
I
1
expected
HP's worth of
more from
damage and
you.
then intercept it. You never want to try to.
Yeah.
Unless it's maybe like a last resort, I don't know. Like that you just wouldn't want to take the chance. The other thing is off angles, just do all that for you automatically. You just instantly
Yeah.
puts you around your teammates. You don't have to worry about them at all.
Nemi.
We are on Nightwell.
Traveling to icon. Ready for battle.
Oh, this is not
I've
the
seen
end.
worse. You're going. I have your back.
My servants never die.
Oh, quick scoping. Also quick scoping. We don't have to go super depth on it. You use it when you are directly under pressure, and you don't really need to use it any other time. You use it because otherwise you can just scope in, and scoping in is gonna have a faster fire rate. But if you are directly under pressure, you want to keep your visibility and your mobility. So somebody's shooting at you, somebody's on top of you, and you're still trying to heal or whatnot. So that's when you can be quick scoping, is when that's needed.
Not good.
So notice there, right, for example, so firstly, notice how we're very, very far out in the open, right, positioning wise, right, we're smack dab here, when we could, be closer to this side or something like that, right, like up here. Additionally, notice how we're quick scoping, kind of just all the time here. We're quick scope, quick scope, quick scope. So really, all that's doing for us is it's helping us maintain mobility, maintain visibility while getting an instant shot. That's what it does. But then it's also going to be a much slower fire rate. So we don't want to do it unnecessarily. And there is unnecessary because we weren't under immediate pressure. So therefore, you probably could have just scoped in. So just watch that. It's really only going to be needed about like 10% of your gameplay.
Gotcha.
Need healing. Dai, kumolem.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Down. Warihum aweta.
Okay.
Lights out.
Positioning, once again, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of the open.
Destination.
Kind of like off in the corner. I think we're trying to like back up backwards and we keep failing.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of doing that, but also trying to heal at the same time because Batine's
Yeah.
crumpling. I think if I melee that railing, I'm pretty sure you can jump up there though. So, but I needed to do that or something.
Yeah.
This will only hurt.
Alrighty, so we're going to go over the main points, do a quick review, and then wrap up from there. So ability usage. You want to bring it on? Ability
Never
usage.
stop fighting for
We
what
just
you
talked about
believe
all
in.
the ability usage stuff just a minute ago, so we don't have to do a quick review. And then overall ability usage probably goes to maybe like a medium priority for you to work on, maybe like a higher end of a medium priority for you to work on. Brig.
Especially on Brig.
Yeah, Brig is a little bit different. Brig, whip shot off cooldown, bash as much whenever somebody's close to you. I believe it's a 5-meter range or 6 meters. Is it still? Nope, 6 meters, maybe 7 meters. I think it's 6 meters, right? So I mean, use 7 meters, but a 6-meter range on it. Yeah, 6-meter range on it. So use it whenever somebody's within range. Pack, right? Try to have them during fights. Don't overheal with it. Pretty much it, right? That's the main stuff, right? Bash off cooldown, or whip shot off cooldown. Play within range to use your abilities. Overall, in Brig, a little bit higher, probably solidly a medium high on Brig. Okay, or not medium highs, higher end of a medium. Sorry to clarify.
Yeah.
Ult usage on Ana, honestly not too shabby. Maybe like a couple things. I didn't really think there was anything we needed to go super in depth on. For what I saw. So overall, low to medium, maybe lower end of that. Brig, rally, get closer when you're using it, right? We were far away, and then we spent the whole rally trying to get closer to them. Overall, we only saw like a total of like 2-3 ultimates. Wasn't a ton.
Yeah.
So that overall probably went for like a low to medium as well. Then Brig doesn't necessarily have too much mechanics. Overall, Brig and Ana, we talked about like don't
Never
overheal,
stop
right?
fighting for
Watch
what you
people's
believe
health bars. Quick scoping. I think we could have talked a little bit more on scopes on Ana, but we didn't. Like just quick scoping, right? Do it when you're under pressure. You can also do it when you're trying to approach distance from really far away. So you're trying that your team's all the way up here. You're trying to walk forwards without sitting still, right? You can do quick scopes while you're walking forwards until you get within unscoped range. And then overall, that probably goes to like a low to medium. Then you have your positioning. On a positioning, make sure you are in general positioning. Make sure you're using cover. Good positioning is usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Take off angles. Off angles going to get you really good nades and whatnot and sleeps. And then yeah, don't stand out in the open. Right, that was probably one of the
Yeah.
bigger ones.
Yeah.
Brig,
Yeah.
both of those, but then also make sure you're staying within your preference range, right? Your preference range is pretty much your bash range, right? Because that's your whip shot and your bash range. So 6 meters. That's your preference range. Now, do you have to sit within 6 meters at all times of the game? No. Your secondary, it's your first preference range is 6 meters. Your second one is 20 meters because that's your whip shot range. So that's kind of tier 1, tier 2, and then if you're outside of that thing, the only thing you can do is use your packs, and that's about it. Oh, I guess it's longer than that. Is it 25, 22, something like that? So 20, 20, 23, 20 something like that, right? Yeah, 20, 20, 21, 22, something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's your
Somewhere
range.
around there. Yeah.
Look to stay within that because then you're able to use it. Overall in Brig, that one probably went to like a medium high. That one was important
Yeah.
to
My
learn to
ability
manage.
was ability usage was well, and also choosing her wasn't really optimal either.
Yeah.
For the team comp.
Yep.
I mean, where there's a Reinhardt, I'm.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. I was saying,
Yeah.
if there's like a Reinhardt or something like that, I'm usually a lot more comfortable being closer. But yeah, I either needed to use my abilities more or just swap on that last one.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And then finally, awareness. Awareness. Pay attention to your surroundings. Request healing when you're low. Make sure you're paying attention to team comps and how they dictate your play style. I'd recommend, for that purpose, I'd recommend pressing tab in between every single fight of the game. That gives you a lot of good info to work off of. And that's at a minimum. You should be doing that. Besides that, pay attention generally to health bars of your teammates and of enemies. Pay attention to just what's going on left, what's going on right, a quick 360, keep your ears open. Overall, that one probably went to, trying to think. Think that one went to in between it's either a high end of a medium or a low end of a medium high, somewhere between that.
Gotcha.
So to put that all in order, over on Brig, your order's probably going to be positioning number 1, awareness number 2, ability usage number, or yeah, let's say ability usage number 2, awareness number 3. Then you have ult usage, and then that's about it, right? Maybe overhealing is the last thing, right? So we can say mechanics 5, and then that's really a tiny thing, okay?
Yep.
Ana, you got your probably your awareness is number 1, ability usage number 2, positioning number 3. Then you have after that. Trying to think here. Then you got your. Honestly, the last two probably just do time up. I guess mechanics comes above it. The last two are kind of just like, once again, it's kind of just a little bit of stuff to work on. So not really your main focus. Any questions?
No, I think this was good. It pointed out a few things that I could definitely and some goals and objectives.
Alrighty. So I